push for me.
You. Um, I will tell you that there's a lot that I am doing to look at what we do to help you guys become more and more productive. Um, I'll use the term accountability and coaching. So as you guys know, I know like Jason, you get a lot of it up there in Port Huron with your coach, and it makes a difference. So I'm also going to do a little bit different in how we set these up. We're going to take a little bit more of a look forward so we know when they're coming. So Andre, do you use Google Calendar?
Yes.
Okay. How about, I'm going to ask each of you guys this. So Lydia, how about you?
Yes, I do.
You do? Justin, Jason?
I recently got an iPhone and the calendar on it's actually working better for me
All right.
than what Google
And I'm
Calendar
okay with
was.
that because it will work the same way. Becca, good morning. We're just asking about your calendar. Do you use a Google Calendar?
I do. Yep.
Okay.
I open it as soon as I open my Gmail, so it's always up.
I love it. Which to me, it's the best way to be able to do it. We should be that dependent upon that calendar. And we should be dependent upon it because the business is in there. Look, I don't ever want to miss an appointment. And Lord knows it happens. Hopefully the appointment I miss is not going to cost me business or money. But that's how important it is. And so if it's, here, as long as it's a digital calendar, will go across all of your platforms, which simply means, I'm looking at my computer and I can jump on my computer here and I've got everything. I can get on my phone and it's synchronized to my computer. I can go to my laptop and it's synchronized with all across the board. Or if, hey, I'm in Cabo San Lucas and I don't have a computer, but I got one that I can go get access to. As long as I can access my email, my calendar, my contacts, life is good. So that's a huge, huge part. What we're going to do, plan for 2023 is that we're just going to send an invitation to these meetings so that you just automatically save it into your calendar. It will be there, and therefore, we don't need all the reminders that we're currently doing. Okay. So know that will be a shift that I'm looking to be able to put together for 2023. But let's start out the way that we always do. Tell me what's been going on good, and because there's just a few of us, let's go right across the board and let's see who's first in my list. Lydia, you're first on my screen, so I'll talk to you first.
Okay. So as far as like business goes,
Preferably business, but anything we want to go. What's the good news? Because we haven't been together in over a month. So what's the good news?
so I've been working on doing FSBO calls quite a bit, and right now I have 5 leads that I'm working, like following up with, just
Great.
from the FSBO calls, following up weekly with them. And then the other good news is when I first got I've only been on with Coldwell Banker for it's been about a month and a half-ish. And so when I got my business cards, my mentor gave me these door hangers for my neighborhood. And so I went around and did door hangers and gave out business cards to anybody who was there. And I had a couple that was standing outside. They were like, we're actually going to list this house sometime here in the next year, and we haven't contacted a realtor. So they're like, we'll use you.
Now, what we know is we got to stay in touch,
Mm-hmm.
but you see, everything that we do on a daily basis is about that, because we've got this sphere of influence and we need to grow it. Well, how do you grow it? By going and talking to people you don't know. It's for sale by owners, and you're not going to get them all, obviously, right?
Right.
And it's about going out and meeting new people who will say, well, we're not going to do something, but we will 6 months from now. And it really is 6 months from now.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where your follow-up system becomes a key element. Okay. Curiosity, how many of you are using Engage, Moxie Engage? Lydia, that's awesome. Anybody else using Moxie Engage? Caroline's on it. Becca?
I needed to get all the emails pretty much. So that's literally on my list of things that my mentor and I talked about yesterday. So, yep.
I'll tell you what, part of what we're really doing, and Lydia, I think you've walked into a great office because there's so much energy and excitement because of the number of recruits that you guys have brought in this year, and that we're constantly looking and we're going, do this. So I couldn't help but to smile. Who's your mentor, Lydia?
Elizabeth Dupron.
So she says, here's these door hangers. It's almost like if she had said, get out of here, I don't want to see you until all 500 of these are gone. I love that. And the reason being is because if you talk to enough people, you're going to establish the leads. And you experience that. So again, one of the reasons we do this is exactly for that reason. So awesome stuff there. So Becca, you're there. Well, go ahead, Caroline.
Sorry, I'm losing my voice, so hopefully you can hear me. I was the Moxie Engage platform, because you were talking about calendars. If you guys go in there and connect your Gmail contacts into Engage, it automatically loads all of your contacts from your phone into Moxie. Anybody new that you put into your phone automatically goes into the program. So it's a fantastic tool to use. And it also syncs your Google Calendar. So when you go into Moxie, there's actually a dashboard that has your contacts and your calendar all in the same interface. That's fantastic.
Awesome. Jason, I like that. Well, let's stay right on topic. So Becca, why don't you go ahead and talk to us about what's good news? Because you had some good news.
Yeah, so the week before Thanksgiving, I finally closed on my first listing. Unfortunately, I did not complete the listing, my very first listing. That expired and they decided not to move forward with me. But, I think it was good experience in general, so I can't complain too much. But I finally closed. We finalized the paperwork on Monday. Tuesday, I had a gentleman walk into the office and he wanted to check out one of our other agents' properties. Didn't have an actual agent or anything. And I was walking out as he was as well. And our receptionist said, hey, if you want to, you can go stop that guy. So I went and stopped him and I showed him a condo. And the very next morning we put in the offer, and the very next day it was accepted. So that was, it was a very quick process. He didn't need to get a pre-approval or anything, and we didn't do an inspection. So it was closed within 2-3 weeks. And it was actually a co-op, and not too many people in my office really handle co-op. So it was just kind of a learning experience for all of us. And I feel pretty knowledgeable about them for the most part. So I feel more comfortable with that. Other than that, I've had a couple of other buyers kind of come through. I did an open house a couple of weeks ago and had a couple of prospective buyers that don't really have agents. So that's also on the plus side. I'm with the holidays and everything, we've just kind of slowly been discussing, looking at more places. So it's been a little slower, but that's again on my list of things to do today and tomorrow, is just to reach back out to all those people and check up on them. So
Awesome.
yeah, a couple things one after another. So
I like it. I like it. And by the way, if there was a message that you learned, and I know we're not, you've increased the one message that got you that one sale at the office. What was the message you'd share with everybody?
go to the office. Doesn't really matter what time of the day or for how long. I think it was just simply in the middle of the day that this gentleman came. So some people might think that you need to be there towards the end of the workday or what have you, but I've been going frequently, and I've gotten a handful of floor calls, and I didn't think I was going to have someone walk into the office without an agent, but it's great. We have nice conversation, and he's this sweet gentleman, and I really appreciated it. So going to the office.
The interesting part with it is that I was out at Becca's office, and we were having a fierce conversation between the mentees and the mentors, and part of it, I won't say I called Becca out, but it was let's talk frankly, and she knew that she had withdrawn from the office.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
her sales, basically her production, went with it.
Mm-hmm.
And soon as she gets back into the office,
Just
it was like
nonstop.
message going back
Yeah.
up.
Yep.
There you go. You're doing what you need to do. But that's what I always say. You're going to get lucky, and you will be more productive when you're in the office. So when you're working, but not out in the marketplace, you're not showing homes, you're not on a listing appointment, you're not knocking on doors, then if you're in working mode, work in the office. So that was the message that brought. So great job. Andre,
Yeah,
I got you up next. What's the good news? It's hard to hit that mute button when you're driving.
Well, I'm not driving. I am stopped.
Oh, have you?
But I was texting to see what is happening with a new housemate that has moved into my house. We're registering her daughter for school, and I was checking to see how long it is, because I've got to go back to the school bus for afternoons, because it's parent-teacher conferences for the young kids. I have finally graduated training. It only took 2 months of 11-hour days, 5 days a week, to get through training for school bus driving. But finally back to driving, and this week I've moved in a housemate, so it's been a little hectic in my personal life. And I'm trying to figure out how to work real estate and school bus at the same time, especially with all these stinking half days.
Best I'll give you, time block, because really it gives you the income that you needed, space in there to be able to do real estate. And even though you got to go back at it, it would be the same as me doing what I do. You fill in the openings with all of your real estate.
Right.
Because everybody knows I now have 2 jobs within the company, and and yes, my sales have suffered greatly because I've done this, and I could break it all down. I know why, and I'm okay with it.
Right.
Because I'm enjoying life. I'm getting everything out of it that I want.
That's the best part.
But, right. So what similar in nature is you've got to just control it and use the time in between. And even the time in the car is prospecting time. Remember the aspect that make it a mobile university. There is so much learning that you can do. So don't use it as the, well, when you're in the mode that you're in, it's not a, and relax, although I do it. It's use it because that's more productive time. We just got to know what we want. So congrats on getting all the way through that. So let's see, Jason, talk to me. I know you've had some good stuff going on. What's the good news on your side?
Yeah, I got 2 active listings going right now. The one is a bit of it's a hard sell. We're reduced. It was a FSBO convert, and now we're reduced down to the 105 that she originally had it listed for. The house was originally a shoe shop, like 100 years ago. And so the layout's kind of odd, and we had one deal fall through on it. So that one's my problem child right now. The other one is all good. It's a lakefront property in Lapeer. It's abutted to one side with forest that's wetland, so it can't be built on. The cottage isn't in the greatest shape, but most of the value's in the land anyways, because the location's perfect. So that one, we've had 12 showings and probably 4 interested in it, and I got to call a agent back today about an client he has that has that might make a cash offer on it. That comes into the pipeline because the people that own that property actually own a total of 5 properties that they want to get rid of. And
Wow.
with this one, 4 of them are on lakefront and one is in Florida. And then I'm helping Shelly with her commercial deal, and I had a buyer from an open house I did probably 2 months ago call me yesterday, but I missed the call. And then I have a rental lead. This lady called about a rental, and unfortunately that person wants to sell now rather than rent. So I'm gonna see if there's any other properties that she might be interested in, or if I can help her with that.
Excellent. And the person wants to sell, or are they listed with somebody else?
No, it's listed within our office in Port Huron.
I got it. All right. So just a quick question. Your source for your listings, what did those come from?
FSBOs, expireds in Sphere.
Gee, it works.
Yeah, and 1 floor time. I'm sorry, I had a floor time call that's already closed.
Oh, that's great, because see, there's another example. Be in the office. Do open houses. So, again, part of the benefit of why we come together like this is when we can hear each other's successes and what we're doing and all the different things that we can do. We learn from each other and go, well, gee, maybe I should do open houses, because the reality is we should be doing them at least twice a month. At least twice a month. Where else can you sit on your butt waiting for people to call you? Or
right. It's great having listings.
Yeah. And gosh, for open houses, we don't even need a listing. Just choose one that people will want to come and see. For the real listing agents in the office, say, hey, you take a new listing I'll be happy the first Sunday to hold it open, or Saturday, whatever, is better for your area. But go to that top listing agent and just say, look, I'm open. You take a listing, I'll hold it open this weekend. Because most listing agents don't want to do open houses. So let them know. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead, Jay.
I did have one learning experience as far as open houses with my with my problem child listing. It so I had an open house on Sunday, and I decided that maybe having a second one on Tuesday evening for those who couldn't make it, or were working or something. And yeah, the Tuesday evening one was kind of flop. I had 4 come through on Sunday and 0 on Tuesday.
Yep. Yeah, I wouldn't say that's out of the ordinary. I wouldn't discourage anybody from doing it or trying it. But it's it's an unusual time, and I think a lot of people will see a sign, but they don't believe that it really means it's actually open. And so they won't even stop because it's an unusual time. So when you do that, you've got to definitely have some great marketing that will pull people in. So let's see, let me go over to Jennifer. Jennifer, share with us some good news.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
We sure can.
Sorry, I have poor quality, so my camera and my speaker keeps going in and out.
We sound good, so we can hear you real clear.
Oh, good. So I am working with buyers right now, and they're a bit challenging, but we'll get there, giving me some good learning curves. I also have a listing up north that is a bit challenging because this particular listing is just a piece of property. It's not on water.
Okay.
So I am working with, just kind of pushing things on their local, of course I have it on our MLS, but they run a lot of different MLSs up north. So I think I reached out to an agent that I worked with on another property I sold up there. I reached out to her to let her know that something's listed. And then I'm also posting things on their local Facebook pages here and there, just to get some coverage. I have a feeling though that might not go until next year. As for my pipeline, I have another piece of property up north coming up in hopefully January or February. I'll be working with my clients and selling a piece of property. I don't know. Lately, I've been working with a lot of land. I feel like I'm becoming a little bit of a land guru, which is good in some aspects, but it's also challenging through my mentor program because it's land and it's not housing.
Okay. Well, hey, a question came up. One of our mentors, Alana, is wondering where the property is located.
It's in Wolverine, Michigan.
Alana, jump on if you need more.
So it's up there. It's in Wolverine. It's not a big property. It's shy of a ½ acre. It does have lake access. So I'm pushing that a little bit. But it's not the best piece of property around the lake, but
All right.
I think come springtime I'll get some action on it a little bit, but I think it's so cold up there right now and people just aren't out. I thought someone around the lake might buy it, but
Well, let's shift gears. Let's go to the I need help with.
okay.
I ran into what the heck do I do? Who's got something in regards to that area of our call?
It's not, I'll just go with the question. When it comes to open houses, there's a couple of FSBOs that I wanted to call back, and I want to reoffer an open house, but since it's starting to get pretty cold, I guess this is more of a question for the experienced realtors. Do people come when it's snowing or when it's just simply really cold outside? Even if you do all the marketing and, if you do the door knocking and things like that, I'm just wondering, obviously I'm going to put 110% into it, but I'm just curious how much I would want to promote it now rather than, springtime, especially for a FSBO that, probably wants it sold right now.
Well, I'll turn to, we got a couple of mentors on here, so I'll turn to them first and see if you guys want to give input on that question. I see them remaining silent. Uh, so let me.
No, I'll
address-
help you, Darwin.
Okay, go ahead.
I couldn't get my mute off. Well,
Ah.
Probably a positive thing for you today, but not gonna happen no more. So Rebecca,
Mhm.
I find open houses in the wintertime to be very, very productive.
Okay.
You've got two sorts of people in the wintertime. You've got one that is a seller that is
Mhm.
highly motivated, but then you have the buyer that's gonna go out in that snowstorm because he's highly motivated to find that new home for his brand new door opening for the New Year's, right?
Sure. Okay.
So
Yeah.
that absolutely, I love doing open houses and door knocking in the snow because those are the people that are going to take you more serious into heart.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Awesome.
Good luck. Let me know if you need some
Thank-
help. I'd be more than
Sure.
happy to give you some hints.
Sure. Thanks.
I absolutely second and give her an amen with that one. Yes, matter of fact, when you asked that, I'm sitting back and I'm thinking of one that I had, Burton, Grand Blanc Schools. Massive snowstorm that hit, roads were a mess. To where it got really wet, it was slushy, so it was like, I don't know, 4 inches on the road that was then getting turned into slush. And it was like, why am I even doing this? I had 8 people come through that open house where normally it might be 4. And it actually sold the open house because the buyer became exposed to it through the open house.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Any other thoughts?
Well, one way to work with FSBOs right now, since it is coming up on the winter, and the general thing is that houses don't sell in winter. That makes the marketing that we can do more important than even in the summer, because during the spring and summer they can almost just throw it up on Zillow or Facebook and get people to come look at it. But right now it's they need a little more marketing than what they normally would.
That makes a lot of sense. They're probably not doing too much more than Zillow or something like that anyways, and people are still looking. So
Well, and Becca, you know, being on the gold side, we've got Kyle Matta.
Mhm.
And it was about a year ago, I'm doing excuse me, I have something tickling the back of my throat. So if I have trouble, that's why. But Kyle, I'm doing a lunch and learn with him in December last year. And he shares that, quote unquote, last week I was out knocking on doors in downtown Rochester. Have you heard this story before?
I think so. Wasn't he with
Okay.
someone else?
Yeah,
With a
I've shared it a number of times because
Mhm.
here's a guy, for those who don't know, $28 million in production, knocking on doors in December, snow, cold. And if you don't know downtown Rochester, you're talking a minimum of 400,000. You're really where he was at was 600,000. So he just blew out of the water about door knocking doesn't work. You can't knock on those types of doors. You don't knock on doors in the winter. He blew away everything because this is a 28 million top producer doing this. So the way that I would end this, or the bottom line would be, I can do what nobody else is doing and get what those nobodies are getting, which, by the way, 28 million. Or I can do what everybody else is doing, or if you will, what everyone else is not doing, and have the share of what everybody else is sharing, meaning there's no money there. So Yes, open houses during the winter, you're gonna have them where you get absolutely nobody who shows up. But how many open houses does it take to get one person who ends up buying or selling a house through you? And then, oh, by the way, I gotta make it through with the mentors after this. What about knocking on the doors beforehand? Why do we really knock on doors? Because you mentioned even offering this to the FISBO, right? Well, why are we doing an open house? What's the purpose?
Well, what I explained to FISBO that I thought I was almost
Well,
going to do an
what?
open house for was,
I don't want to lose that.
okay.
But from your focus, guys, as real estate agents, why do we do open houses?
I would say so we could get potential buyers. And then on the back end, possibly the listing.
And see that this is the focus. Let's take it to the end result. Why do we do everything that we do? So that we can do what?
Sell real estate.
And that gets us
Make money.
making the money, right? Cuba Gooding, show me the money. If you're too young, that's, what was it? Jerry McGrath? Jerry McGrath?
McGuire.
Show me the money, sports agent. Show me the money, Jerry. Show me the money. Well, guys, it's why we do everything that we do. And now the why is what we're going to do with the money when we have it. But we need the money to do everything we have within our why. Why do we do an open house? To make money. How can we make money by doing an open house? Well, we hope we get lucky, and we have to understand this. We hope we get lucky and that somebody walks in the door and says, hi, I want to buy it. Because then we make money if they write the offer with us. Many open houses will sell because of the open house, but they're already working with another agent. You know, oh, well, it's the way it is. Okay. But if we do enough of them, I mean, look, for many of us, we've got a $250,000 average sale price. That's $1 million in sales if you sold 4 houses to somebody that you learned or met through an open house. Okay. So it's about the leads. What are the types of leads that come through? Buyers. But what do many buyers have to do? What do many buyers have to do so that they can buy?
Get pre-approved.
And what might
Sell
be
their own house.
approval?
Oh,
They got to sell a house.
that makes
So
sense.
it's not just the buyers, but we'll also find sellers. And then there's people that are going that, well, actually, I wanted to come through and see what this is house because we're moving to Texas. Well, now it's not only what is their house worth, but now set them up with a referral moving to Texas. Talk to people. So one of the things that we should be doing, which gets back to, what did you do beforehand? It's not just promoting the open house. You're going out to talk to the neighbors to be able to find what? More leads. I'm trying to find a neighbor who's going to be selling next. When I show them how good I am at doing an open house and marketing and promoting it, I mean, how many of us have ever had a real estate even knock on our door, let alone promote an open house? You're making an impression upon somebody. Do that enough, and look, I think it was 7 years later, somebody called me up and said, Darwin, you may not remember me, but we came through an open house that you had out in the middle of nowhere in a log house. I was new because it literally was out in the middle of nowhere. It was stupid to hold an open house. But 7 years later, it did pay off because they called me up and said, we'd like to sell our house. We'd like you to do it. 7 years. And oh, by the way, they weren't on my follow-up list. They didn't get added to my sphere of influence. So that's the type of stuff that we're doing constantly. But I'm going to go out and knock on the doors. I'm going to tell them, hi, I'm holding an open house. Who do you know that want to buy it? By the way, how about you guys? Have you had any thought about selling? Because this is going to generate a lot of leads. Well, how long you live in the neighborhood? Where'd you move from? How'd you have to pick this neighborhood? If you were to move, where would you go next? When do you think that would be? Those questions sound familiar? Good. Okay. I got 2 head nods. I like it. All right. So do those basics is what I would throw out. Always talking to people and have a follow-up system. So I would hope that that means that we've all got Moxie Engage set up. Because if you do, it will tell you, okay, you got to follow up with this person. One of the most important parts that I could tell you, if I was coaching you directly, you'd better have a follow-up system. Because if you don't, then you are missing out big time, because you're waiting for the, hi, I want to sell my house now people. Find those people, stay in touch, build a relationship, make them part of your sphere of influence. That's how we get that business, because we get it before anybody else does, and we hold on to it because we're in constant contact. All right, good stuff there. That's a great question. So let's, who else has got one for, hey, I've run into this, what do I do? Oh, great. So everybody's listings are selling. Nobody's having any problem with prospecting. Everybody's getting everything that they want. So Becca's the only one that's got any guts to actually confess I need help with, or what's your thoughts on it?
One thing that I was kind of wondering, and this is, I mean, I've struggled with this because, you know, you set aside time for the day and you've called the FSBOs and you've called the expireds. Your leads are tired, your sphere is tired of hearing about real estate.
Yeah.
What can we do to prospect besides those things?
Wow, great question. So I want you to write down how many people in your sphere of influence. Everybody just write it down. Write the number down. Okay. Now take your phone, calculator, whichever. I want you to multiply that number times 4. That's the number of contacts you got to make with your sphere of influence over the next year. So let's divide that by 12. No, don't divide it by 12. Let's divide it by 48. You're going to take 4 weeks off. What's your number? Anybody? Holy crap, I don't have a sphere of influence list that I talked to.
I have 9.
You got 9? Great, I love that number. This is the group participation time.
I got 33.
Ouch.
That seems high
It
with
does.
the
How many
9.
people- How many people in your sphere?
So I went with 400.
Oh,
Just-
so let's say that you're at 250. Okay.
Okay.
Becca, I would love it if you're at 400.
Yeah,
Probably not. Either that or you haven't talked to all of them.
right.
We talked about that. But
Mhm.
let's say it's 250. So if
Okay.
it's 250 times 4 times per year divided by 48 weeks of work, 21. Okay.
Mhm.
Jason, how about for you? How many in yours?
About 50. I'm not I took a couple off and I've added a couple. So I'm not exactly sure where they at.
Ouch. Jason, how long you lived in Port Huron?
A few months.
Okay. You need to call Aaron Martin. Just call the Midland office. And you'll do this for me, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes, he will.
Thank you, Shelley. I want you to call Aaron Martin because that means you're in the same situation as Aaron Martin. How long you been selling now?
Since the end of June.
Okay. So you should be at about 2 million in production, right?
I wish.
All right. That's what we were thinking. Aaron has moved to Midland. Basically, I think it was the end of last year, but we're going to say she's been in the business for 12 months and she's going to finish the year closing between 4 and 5 million. And she knew nobody in Midland. Okay.
Okay.
So she is a great person to talk to. And your question is, you're going to tell her why you're calling. And you're going to say, I hear you are going to close between 4 and 5 million. What the hell did you do? And because you can get a simple answer. And I can tell you the simple answer. She talked to everyone. Okay. But you want to get more of the detail about how she talked to everyone. What were her reasons for talking to someone? Where did she do it at? But you know, the bottom line would be, Jason, you're doing a lot of it already because you mentioned FSBOs, you mentioned expireds, you talked open houses. Look, it can be as simple as going out and knocking on doors around a home that just got listed, knocking on doors around a home that just sold. It could be knocking on doors. Matter of fact, here, let's do a quick role play. You ready?
Yeah.
You know where you live. You're in a neighborhood.
Yeah.
Okay. You know your neighborhood, right? I
Yeah.
have no idea where you're at. And I'm going to make this prospecting call and knocking on your door. You ready?
Yes.
Knock, knock, knock.
Hello.
Hi, my name's Darwin. I just happen to be a local realtor, not selling anything today, but the reason I stopped by, I know there's a home that's coming on the market in the near future. I'm trying to find it. Is it you?
Okay.
Well, go ahead, role play with me.
No, not any time in the near future.
Not anytime in the near future? Okay, I can appreciate that. Well, listen, how did you happen to pick this neighborhood?
The house was an investment property initially.
Oh, okay, an investment property. And so where did you move from that you came here?
Lapeer.
Lapeer. All right. And was there anything in particular that drew you to this neighborhood?
It was just the investment property. There wasn't any draw to the neighborhood.
All right.
My house has flipped me rather than me flipping my houses.
That makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. Well, listen, you said not anytime in the near future. If you were to sell it, where are you thinking you're going to go next? What are you going to do?
Possibly another investment property.
Oh. So are you saying that really that's what you do is investments?
It's a side job compared to
Gotcha.
real estate now.
All right, makes sense to me. Well, listen, when do you think that's going to be that you'd be ready to flip this and buy on to another one?
Probably 6 to 12 months.
6 to 12 months. Now, is there any reason that you wouldn't do that? I mean, let's say it was today. I had somebody wanted to buy the house. Would you do it today?
If they have cash and enough.
Yeah. What's enough?
At least at this point, at least 100 cash.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, look, it's kind of an interesting property from what I'm seeing outside. What's it like on the inside?
Better.
And might you actually let me in the house already now?
Right now with the construction site, no.
But here's the interesting part. Have I got a lead?
Yes.
Yes. And what did it start with? What was my whole reason?
Asking if they're the house I was going to sell.
Yeah. And by the way, is there not, wherever Jason is at, a house that's going to be coming on the market sometime in the near future? Do we know that? The answer is absolutely yes. It's going to happen because there's no definition as to what that is. And oh, I didn't say, by the way, rumor has it that somebody's coming on the market. I know a home is coming on the market. You want to know how I know? Because there's 250 of them right around you in this neighborhood. Last year, 20 sold. There's only one on the market right now. Is there another one coming on the market? Yes, it is. And I got to tell you, use that, you'll be shocked at how many leads you can get. But go out, be casual, don't wear a hoodie, don't cover your face up, don't hide your hands, don't turn your back to them, give them a profile view. There's lots of things I can tell you regarding that when you're going out and knocking on doors, but above all else, do it. But again, hi, my name's Darwin. I'm a local realtor, not selling anything today. Here's my hands. But I know a home is coming on the market. I'm trying to find it. Is it you? By the way, most of the time they'll go, no. But the most interesting one I ever did have, because most of the time when I did this, I was taking somebody else out with me. I'd start this way. When's the last time you had 11 real estate agents knocking on your door? And by the way, once I had 12. Could you imagine somebody actually opened the door when they saw the people out there? And they said, well, never. I said, well, I wouldn't think so. But listen, the whole reason we're out here, we know there's a home coming on the market. We're trying to find it. Is it you? Well, this one gal says, well, who told you? 6 months later, one of the two gals that I was out with, working with, listed the home. So, and oh, by the way, my answer was, well, nobody told us there was you. We just knew one was coming on the market. Oh, by the way, they go, well, yeah, isn't there one just down the road? Well, yeah, but that's not the one we're looking for. Was it the one you're looking for down the road? No, I'm looking for the one that's coming on the market. Go ahead, try it. Join organizations. Join an organization. Become part of the community. Go to chamber meetings. Meet people. Do what is uncomfortable. Do what nobody else is doing. Where can you go and talk to a whole lot of people in the least amount of time? I mean, this would go back to Andre, because it's all right. I go in, I got to drive the bus, and then I got this little window of time, 4 or 5 hours, and then I got to go back and drive the bus again. Well, you got that little window of time. Where's a place that you can go and see a lot of people in the shortest amount of time and talk real estate? I had one gal, she went out and stood in front of Kroger. Now, this is probably pushing a little bit, but she did it because of an assignment we gave her in class. The assignment was talk to 10 people. That's all it was. And the next week, talk to 10 people. A little bit different than what we did with Hard Knocks. Go back, make sure you talk to 10 people. She said, wait a minute. You know, I'm a single mother, and Caroline, not 5, but she had 8. She says, my husband's always on the road. I have to, 6? Okay, so she had 8. She says, do you know what my life is like? I said, do you want to sell real estate? So where can you go and talk to 10 people in the least amount of time? She found Kroger. And she came back the next week and say, everybody stay away. It's mine. Because she went out, stood in front of Kroger, and I said, by the way, what did you say? She said, well, hi, my name is, I'm with, and I'm doing something right now where I've got these 2 big guys that are making me do this. Who do you know that needs to buy or sell real estate? Well, nobody. And well, what about you? Anyway, with that, she had like 2 or 3 leads from standing in front of a Kroger. But is that gutsy? But where can you talk to a whole lot of people where they'd actually expect you to be able to do that? A chamber meeting would be something where they would do that. They'd expect that for you to walk up, say, hi, my name is, who are you? And of course, if they don't ask you first, you start asking about their business. And what does anybody do anytime you're asking them about their business? They ask you about yours. And now you got the subject of real estate. And of course, what do you want to find out? Whether or not that person is a prospect and who they know that is a prospect. So when it comes down to it, so Jason, you're going to give Aaron a call in the Midland office. And matter of fact, that'd be an interesting one. Jason, do this. I need you to give me a report back and tell me if you asked or ask Erin if she would join us on what is it, the 15th? I believe is our next one. Ask her if she'd join us and share. Okay. How are we doing on time here? 10:52. How many of you, a key part here, and I'm checking because this is going to become part of Speed Board. How many of you have completed the goal projector? Lydia got it. Great. Becca, thank you. Some of you probably hadn't gone back to it, but it's important because that answers all the way down to the number of minutes you should be setting aside in your calendar every day for prospecting. Okay. Oh, Jason, I've got to come back to you, by the way. You see, if I've got 250 people in my sphere of influence and I've got to talk to, we'll call it 20 a week, and I spend 4 days in a prospecting mode, that means I've got to make 5 calls a day to my sphere of influence. Okay. So that I talk to them 4 times per year, I'd have to talk to 5 per day, doing 4 days per week, working 48 weeks. That means you got 4 off. By the way, you can take 4 off if you do what I teach you here. I need to talk to 5 a day. How long will it take to talk to 5 people in your sphere of influence every day? What do you think? Hour? So let's give it 10 minutes per person. You're 50 to 60 minutes to talk to those 5. And if that's all you did, you'd be shocked with the amount of business that you would end up doing. Okay. But Jason goes back. Your question is very appropriate, because if you've only got 50 that you would identify as your sphere, we've got to grow that. So one thing that I would tell you, if you're not at 200 or above, you have a goal of adding 1 person every day to your sphere of influence. Now, how could I do that so that I add 5 per week? Well, I could go to the chamber meeting and meet 5 people, and I've added 5 people to my sphere of influence. If I got 5 business cards, I've added 5 people. have a very specific focus. So Jason, I'm pretty sure if you came from Lapeer and somebody said, I want to list my house in Lapeer, you would have no problem in doing that, right?
No, I wouldn't.
Okay. So how long were you in Lapeer?
About 11 years.
So you're telling me you only know 50 people total in Lapeer?
Yeah, I know more than that.
Yeah, exactly. We need to add those people in. Okay. Jason, do you have children?
Yeah. Yep.
Let's see, they have friends?
Not yet in Port Huron.
Okay. Did they have friends back in Lapeer?
Yeah, some.
And do you know parents of the children that they have friends with?
Yes.
Add them to the sphere of influence. And if your head just went, well, yeah, but I don't know their name or their phone number or where, no problem. Then I'm going to write down Joe Schmuck's friends or parents. Okay. That means I got to go find them. But they're still your sphere of influence. What about any of your extracurricular activities, clubs, organizations?
Well, that's where Shelley probably wants to wring my neck.
Oh, your life
Because
dropped off.
yeah, she so since I'm a veteran and I was deployed, I can get into the VFW, which I'm a member of, and I can go to the American Legion and all the other veterans organizations. And
That's
yeah, I
why
haven't
she
done
would
so
name
in
you.
Port Huron.
Dude, by when will you have that participation going?
I've been saying that I'm gonna go this week for a few weeks now.
Okay.
I've been meaning to get it started.
Right here, you've got 8 witnesses. You're going to make a commitment to everybody. By when will you actually start attending?
Honestly, I should be doing it this week because they're.
So you should be, or you're gonna?
I'm going to. I don't really have an excuse because you go there and it's basically you just hang out with people and talk, and beer's like $2.25 for a big one.
For a big beer. So for $2.25, that's a pretty good prospecting opportunity.
Right.
I'll tell you, I've talked to a lot of real estate agents who found a lot of clients, built their sphere of influence at the bar. And you got a cheap way of doing it. All right. By the way, I'm writing an email to Shelley.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Maybe I'll take her with me.
You should talk about a personality that, good Lord, I mean, just get her out of there before she gets intoxicated. Then you never know what'll happen. But all right, so everybody knows when we get back together, is it the 15th? It's our last one.
Yes. Yeah, it's the 15th.
Okay. Then we all got to ask Jason about how it went. Okay. So we're his accountability partners now. So we'll ask him about that. So just go get involved. Caroline, you're going to add?
Sorry. I don't know if you can hear me. Jason, what did you do for work in Lapeer when you lived in Lapeer?
I worked for the state.
Okay. So you were in Lapeer for 11 years. We have a Lapeer office. I'm sitting in it right now. My husband works in Port Huron, so you have no excuse not to use your sphere from Lapeer.
Yeah.
Little accountability there.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're a little introverted and you don't go out of your box to meet people very often.
Oh, that is true.
So you just need to get more confidence. Reach out to all those.
I'm much more confident in doing listing presentations and giving numbers to people. During the listing presentation, they pay a little more attention to the numbers.
Yeah, guys, Jason's not the only one with this little issue, is he? We have introverts, we have extroverts. I happen to be married to an extrovert. I'm an introvert. Put me in a room of strangers like we're asking Jason, I'll go sit off on my own and wait for somebody to come and talk to me, of which then I can talk up a storm. Like, right? I'm not the only one. What we have to do is mentally shift gears and become that extrovert. And so it's like, it's showtime, boom, and away we go. All right. So gang, I've got to let you go. I've got to drop off and sign in and get with all the mentors. So I will see you in 2 weeks, 14 days, and share with the other mentees, get them back on here for 2 weeks. And then we'll have the rest of the year to do whatever else we're going to do, as long as we planned it. Have a great one.